The golden age of romantic comedies is generally agreed to have been mostly during the 90s, with movies like Pretty Woman, Notting Hill, and 10 Things I Hate About You. From 1989 to 1998, the screenwriter Nora Ephron wrote and co-wrote 3 of the big romantic comedies: When Harry Met Sally, Sleepless in Seattle, and You've Got Mail. Those 3 movies are generally considered to be some of the best works to come out of the romantic comedy golden age. In this video, we'll talk about how one person wrote and co-wrote 3 of the most successful romantic comedies. In 1984 or 1985, Nora Ephron and filmmaker Rob Reiner met over lunch at the Russian Tea Room in New York. Rob Reiner pitched an idea to Nora that she didn't really like. Later on, Rob Reiner approached her again with a more specific idea about 2 strangers who just broke up with their partner, become friends, and decide not to have sex, thinking that it would ruin the friendship, but they end up doing it anyways, and it ruins the friendship. During the taxi ride after the idea had been pitched to her, Nora had a clear vision on how the movie could be structured. Before writing, she knew that the 2 main characters would keep bumping into each other and that the story would start before they become friends. After Nora approved of the idea, Rob got busy and acquired a deal for them to make the movie. Before writing, Nora interviewed Rob Reiner and his friend Andy Shyman. Rob Reiner recalls this moment of his life. "I was in the middle of my single life. I had been out a number of times, all these disastrous, confusing relationships, one after another." This source material came in handy for Nora, who sometimes put real conversations in the movie. She has even admitted that Harry is based on Rob, his laissez-faire attitude, and moody and depressed behavior. And Sally is based on herself for her more cheerful attitude and organized way of living. The scene where Harry is convinced that no women ever faked an orgasm is a conversation that Rob Reiner and Nora actually had. By the way, that scene alone is the reason why the movie got an R rating. Those interviews helped Nora have a better understanding of men. Some of the things Rob and Andy told her were things that she would never think men could think about. It shocked her quite a bit. Nora's writing process was not straightforward. The script came to life little by little and was peer-edited by Rob, who was working on Stand By Me and Princess Bride at the same time. When Nora was out of ideas or did not feel like writing, she would tape interviews of old couples talking about how they met. Rob had the idea to include part of these interviews in the movie, but reenact them with actors, which became a well-known motif in the film. Originally, Harry and Sally were supposed to remain friends until the end of the movie. However, both Nora and Rob felt that the movie would be better if they got married, even though they still have acknowledged that the most realistic version would be if they remained friends. In 1989, screenwriter Jeff Ark had little to no success as a writer and worked as a taekwondo teacher. His wife had just given birth to his child, who was 6 months old at the time. He challenged himself and decided to write 3 screenplays within the following year. One of them was Sleepless in Seattle. He felt that the cliche of couples in movies forming a relationship shortly after meeting was overplayed, so he decided that his characters would only meet at the end of the movie. This part of the story, which was very important to the script, would actually cause a little bit of trouble for the development of the movie. He pitched his ideas to 6 different studios, but none accepted. Executives worried that the audience wouldn't resonate with the movie if the lead couple only shared the screen at the very end of the movie. Even with all of this pushback, Jeff felt that his movie would succeed as long as his main characters met on top of the Empire State Building on Valentine's Day at the end of the movie. Jeff Arch's agent submitted his script to a producer who, like Jeff, had little to no success at that time, Gary Foster. Gary read the script and by the end of it was crying. He was hoping that this film would be his breakthrough work, so he sends the script to TriStar Picture, who at first didn't believe in the success of Sleepless in Seattle, but later on bought the script. This was Jeff Arch's first sale as a writer. TriStar agreed to make the movie on the condition that it took a more lighthearted tone. The movie was supposed to be more of a romantic drama than a romantic comedy, and TriStar wanted Sam and Annie to have more comedic lines. Jeff submitted a rewrite just to realize that he had been replaced by someone else whose work he didn't really like. So he begged TriStar to have someone else rewrite the script, and they agreed. Foster interviewed multiple writers to rewrite the film and found David Ward to be best fitted for the job. David had directed the movie The Sting 20 years prior. Hiring him as the writer gave the movie much more credibility and allowed the script to survive the development phase despite executives wanting to drop the movie completely. David's biggest contribution to the movie was to add the scene where Jonah calls the radio station for Sam. He thought that realistically, no man could call a radio station to share his feelings for strangers to listen to. He also thought that it would be better if Jonah led Sam to open up during the radio phone call scene. With these changes that moved the script forward, Foster still didn't think that the script was ready, so he contacted a third writer, Nora Ephron. Nora was actually Foster's first choice to rewrite the script, but she was busy when the script came to her. In 1992, after directing This Is My Life, Nora was looking for script doctoring jobs. That's when Sleepless in Seattle got proposed to her a second time. Other than David Ward, 4 other people had rewrote the original script. Nora wrote the 5th and final version of the story. She took on the project thinking it would be a quick and easy way to make money. She even promised Foster that she would be able to finish the script in 3 weeks. She liked Arch's structure of the movie, but didn't think it was funny enough. She also enjoyed the changes that David Ward had made. Nora's contribution to the movie was to add more character details on Annie and Jonah. In earlier versions, Annie had just broken up with a boyfriend. Nora changed that. She also relocated Annie from Lancaster to Baltimore. Overall, she changed much of the dialogue in the movie and watered down the dramatization of the original script. She's the main reason why the movie is considered a romantic comedy rather than a romantic drama, and she has been credited by many as the reason why the movie is so great. Jeff Ark disagreed with that and thought that although the movie got changed to be funnier, the scenes and structure of the movie stayed pretty much the same. The original director of the movie, Nick Castle, walked out on the film claiming that Nora has stripped the movie of its emotions by making it too comedic. He went on to direct Dennis the Menace that released the same year as Sleepless in Seattle. This movie is often considered to be ahead of its time, and even for me, when I was watching it, it felt like a movie that came out of 2008 rather than 1998. This screenplay was written by Nora and her sister Delia. Delia actually had minor script contributions to Sleepless in Seattle, but didn't get credits for the work. This script was based on the 1937 play Perfumery. 3 years later, in 1940, a movie was adapted called A Shop Around the Corner, which is also the name of Kathleen's shop in the 1998 version. You've Got Mail is closer to the 1940 movie, except that they use emails instead of mails. The idea of having the corner around the shop be a children's bookstore came from the fact that children's books had always been relevant to Delia and Nora. They wanted to capture their childhood feeling, and it would be easier to write a character that deeply cared about the store if the writer themselves did too. In a 1998 interview, Nora admitted that she still read children's books like Ozma of Oz and cried reading Anne of Green Gables. Nora Ephron passed away on June 26, 2012. She went down as one of the best, in my opinion, the best romantic comedy writer. She participated from the inception all the way through the end of the golden age of rom-coms. Even though she was a co-writer on 2 of the films, she brought great contributions to the movie that shaped an entire subgenre.